UndergroundVideoNetwork.com presents the We Talk Too Much podcast.
This is where the fun begins.
Comic books, superheroes, sci-fi, gaming, and everything nerdy.
That's it. This is just too weird.
Now, here's your host of the We Talk Too Much podcast, Mike and Richard.
Hey everyone, and welcome to this episode of We Talk Too Much. I am Michael Boroff.
And I'm Richard Catterjohn.
Rich, how's it going?
Good.
Hey man, 2 weeks in a row. It is a little weird being back in the little box again with you after getting to see you in live and in person last week. I keep wanting to do this, but you're not there. A lot has dropped since last weekend when me and you went and saw Ghostbusters Afterlife together.
Yeah, this is the start of geek holidays almost.
It was almost like an early Christmas for nerds this week. One of the big things to talk about right out of the gate was one of the things that I've been looking forward to since the announcement of Disney Plus. When they first announced Disney Plus, and they gave a run through of all the titles that was going to be available in the near future, this was one of the ones at that time that was the farthest out, but it was the one that I'd been looking forward to the most. I am, of course, talking about Hawkeye. And for knowing when it came out, that one kind of snuck up on everybody because it was just like, wait a minute, that came out today? Holy shit. I was like, wait a minute, I forgot all about that. How did that come out so soon?
And he even dropped 2 episodes.
Yeah, and I'm really glad. I like the way they're doing the 2 episodes because it seems like and Scarlet Witch was WandaVision was the same way. They were smart enough to know that they needed to dedicate the first episode to more background character building.
Right.
But they also know that sometimes that's not enough to keep people's interest. So it's just like, well, the first episode we're going to dedicate to character building and get an idea of what's going on. And then the second episode, we're going to come out guns a-blazing. And Hawkeye really did that as well, too.
Yeah, because like the first episode, we kind of got like a mini origin story,
I guess I really, really liked how they handled Kate Bishop's, I don't want to say origin.
Right.
But I like the way they did that montage during the opening credits, like the animated montage that was just really quick, showing her after we get an introduction of her going through all the processes of becoming, a karate master and learning the bow and arrow,
Quick shout out, spoilers. We'll probably be talking about everything in the first 2 episodes of Hawkeye. Oh, yeah. But no, it was great because we got to see the beginning of it, where we got to see the beginning with Kate Bishop as a young child, her living in New York during the Battle of New York. I thought that was a really great scene too, that showed her seeing Hawkeye in that iconic moment where he's jumping off the building. That's still one of my favorite moments in Avengers, is when he jumps from that building and swings in. When it was really cool because we got to see from her point of view. We got to see him swinging into the building, but we got to see why Hawkeye was such an inspiration to Kate Bishop. Hawkeye's always been a favorite of mine because he was the average guy, like Black Widow, but he didn't have any powers. He was just like really ridiculously good at something. Right.
He had no super soldier serum. He wasn't a god. He didn't have gamma radiation flowing through him. He was just a guy that was super good at what he did.
Yeah, he was a SHIELD agent, basically.
Yeah.
And then really well-trained SHIELD agent.
Mm-hmm. I did always like in the comic books, though, they didn't touch on in the MCU, but for people like me who are a big fan of Hawkeye in the comic books, it was always kind of an underlying theme that they considered him like borderline mutant, where
Yeah.
His skills were far above normal human, but he didn't quite have like the X gene that made him a proper mutant.
Yeah. He was
But it
sort
was
of like,
always,
it was like Bullseye, the Daredevil villain.
yeah. It was always superhuman ability in a non-superhuman person.
Yeah, he had that uncanny accuracy where he didn't really miss anything,
Yeah, and it was great too because it wasn't just with the bow and arrow too. That's his weapon of choice, but it's really with anything.
Yeah, I always liked in the comic book he started out basically as a villain.
Yeah, he was raised, not raised, but ran away from home and joined the what was it? The circus of, oh man, what was the name of the circus? But it was
I don't remember.
it was like the circus of evil, but yeah, the ringmaster, was the one that really trained him.
Yeah,
because he saw that natural ability that he had.
But yeah, that's just that. But I just loved how they did show the point where Hawkeye saved her. Because you kind of see that in the original movie,
right?
From the other side, and you never realized that was, and then. And it was so funny. She's being carried out by her mom, and they wanted to go get her something. She goes, "I want a bow and arrow or a bow."
Yeah. No, that was at the funeral.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really did like how it showed how Hawkeye really inspired her. That she wasn't just blowing smoke up his ass when she said, "You're my favorite Avenger." Like, no, she has a really good reason to hero worship Hawkeye. Fans of the show fans of the comic books are gonna notice we've talked about this a lot. It very much ties very heavily into the Matt Fraction run of the comics. And I'd like to give a shout out too that so much of the storyline was taken from Matt Fraction, but a lot of the visuals that you see, especially a lot of the promotional art, come from the different artists and cover artists that helped Matt Fraction make this book as good as it was. So definite shout out to them. But for fans of the Matt Fraction run, it was like Easter of Easter eggs. From Lucky the Pizza Dog to the trench coat mafia or the tracksuit mafia.
Yeah.
And the constant, "Hey bro, why you doing that, bro? Bro, come on, bro." It's like, oh my god, to hear it in like live action was just like so much. But one of the things I really liked was I liked how well they tied in the MCU version of Hawkeye to the Marvel Comics version of Hawkeye. It was a brilliantly weaved together story that really united those two universes.
Yeah, it made sense. It's very MCU friendly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The storyline, the whole 2 episodes and stuff, it really emphasized. And this is our furthest out into the MCU too. So this takes place several months after Endgames. So
right. But what was neat was so many people who, like me, are fans of the Hawkeye comic book were wondering just how are they going to pull this off? Because in the comic books, Hawkeye is the epitome of the bachelor, single guy living in an apartment, drinking coffee straight from the mug. How are they going to intermingle that story with a character that's established to be not only married, but a family man with kids? How are they going to tie this
three
in?
kids at Christmas.
Yeah. But you know what? They really did make it work. And the whole backstory with tying it in with Kate Bishop. Kate Bishop's family, who we know from the comic books, has their hands in some underground, no pun intended, underground dealings.
Right now it's just a security firm, so
right.
she has access to all of the security operation softwares and stuff like that, because I liked how she could triangulate and find where the cell phone was and stuff like that, so
yeah. what I think is really interesting, Richard, is how they're setting her mom's fiance up to seem
Right.
like he's going to be the bad guy.
Right.
When in actuality, I think people like us, Richard, the comic books, are already suspecting that no, this is a red herring. It's going to be the mom.
Yeah, I think he's just one of those rich guys, like down the line, who wants to be something, like a wannabe.
Yeah, I think he's legitimately a patsy. That Kate believes he's using her mom, when in
Right.
actuality it says her mom using him.
Could be because I know the actress they got to play that part, Vera Farmiga, is really good, and
Mhm.
as a name actress, so it's probably a good part,
Yeah.
I probably botched that name, but I think that's right.
But no, to go back to the beginning again, it was a great origin story for Kate Bishop because we got to see her as a child. She did come from a life of luxury, which we know from the comic books. We got to see the death of her father, which that was a huge divergent from the comic book, but
Right.
within the MCU, it worked perfectly.
Yeah.
We got to see her motivation we got to see what really drove her to start her training in my opinion, in her mind, she wanted to become a superhero like Hawkeye.
Correct. That's how I think too. And she did it basically. I mean, she did all the martial arts training. She's done everything in the archery. She's like, what is it, number 2 in the world or something like that? Didn't she
Yeah.
say something like that?
Or as she puts it, I'm the greatest archer. People say I'm the greatest archer in the world.
Yeah.
And Clint's like, are you one of those people? Oh man. Yeah, I am one of those people.
And then it's like the branding and stuff, like that little clip we had and stuff. That was so hilarious because
Oh my god. Well, let's go back to
okay.
the family at Christmas time. It made sense that he was there with the kids. Mom was at home,
Right.
which they didn't completely ignore her. We got some good cameos from Linda Cardellini. Nice little touch too. It was important that you spent time alone with the family. But it did not seem far-fetched at all. I know people in real life who, dad works a lot. He'll take the weekend with the kids. That was awesome. But they go to see Rogers the musical. In no universe would that have been an idea that Clint would have came up with to go see that right there. That was so horrible in a good way. I mean, for us it was horrible, and but
well, he
God,
thought it was horrible.
oh man. And what's really funny, Richard, is that entire single of I Can Do This All Day is already dropped. And and I really enjoyed it when they're watching the play. You could feel the cringe from Clint, because not only was he's probably not a musical guy anyways, but to see your life in one of the most, I don't want to say traumatic, but I mean, for him, wasn't just, some, fancy battle. I mean, he was in the middle of it. This was war for him,
Yeah.
They won, but to still see it portrayed as a carefree musical,
And
dude,
it included Ant-Man.
oh my God, that was freaking hilarious. Oh, man. He wasn't even there. I was like, oh God, that was just, I loved it. He wasn't even there. But he turned the hearing aid off. Like, Dad, did you like, I don't need to hear it. I was there, But it was a really great moment because it was almost like mild PTSD. Here he was watching this light-hearted musical about this traumatic time in his life, and he was just like, I gotta go.
Yeah.
That was real. That was grounded,
That whole performance part reminded me of that the float from Thanksgiving Parade back in '87 with the Marvel characters.
Oh my God, I know exactly what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about. I can see it right now.
That's all I could think about when I saw that. I go, oh man, this
Oh my
out
God.
of that,
I did like how Hawkeye is given that level of respect that I have always believed he deserved. Because a lot of people, in the real world, always kind of thought of Hawkeye and even like Green Arrow as a joke. Oh, he just fires arrow. Even so much so, that Jeremy Renner has played into that self-deprecating humor. That skit he did years ago on Jimmy Kimmel and Jimmy Fallon. Where he was singing on the piano and I'm the guy with the bow and arrow. And in the Saturday Night Live skit, where they were talking about the battle on New York, and it's like, well, what about you, Clint? He's like, I had 20 some arrows and I shot them all. But it was nice seeing that he was given a proper level of respect in the MCU. He wasn't a joke in the musical. They didn't treat him as a side note.
Right.
Even okay, granted, that scene on the street was really good though. It's like, mommy, look, a superhero. That was brilliant. And the fact, for me, Richard, the fact that she runs past him and goes to Ant-Man, I lost it all. But I mean, a lot of people. Great example is when he takes the family to go when they go to have Chinese. We're in the Chinese restaurant, and the waiter recognized me. No, this is on us. You saved the city. It's the least we can do. That was so awesome. And let's face it, that had to be, for a dad, that had to be awesome too, because it's like whenever you hear celebrities talking about their kids, and their kids are like, it's like, what do they think about their dad being in this movie? They don't give two shits about their dad being in this movie. They are so unimpressed, It's that same level, they probably have like so much disinterest in their dad being a superhero because it's their dad.
Right.
But it was like that great dad moment where you're just like, no, you saved the city. The least we can do is buy dinner for you. It's just in your face, kid. Daddy's awesome,
But I like the whole where she was trying to say, like, when she was how was it with the kids, because he sent them back home, then he said he'll try to get there by Christmas, so that's how all this is going to progress, him trying to get home to the kids for Christmas, I have a feeling.
And the whole thing with Kate finding the Ronin costume during that black market auction.
Right. Yeah.
That was a beautiful segue to getting the introduction between Kate Bishop and Hawkeye and Clint. That was perfect in the MCU.
Right. So did he leave it back at the Avengers headquarters how did it get on the black market?
Here's what I think happened, Richard. Remember, he had just gotten done being Ronin when Natasha, like, you got to come back with us.
Right.
So he probably did have the costume at the Avengers, not the tower,
right,
the mansion. And then you got to figure, Richard, huge explosion, everything happened. There was probably going to be scavengers.
Okay.
That's the way I see it is, you got some black market dealings like, oh shit, man, the entire Avengers mansion blew up. Get Jimmy the Fingers over there real quick and see what he can, see what he can grab.
the whole Vulture crowd, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Just like in Spider-Man, you know, somebody's exactly, Richard. It might not even been like black market dealings. It might have been something like what was it? The Wrecking Crew.
Oh yeah, Damage Control.
Damage Control. Thank you.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
someone working for them found it and slipped it through. You know, yeah,
Yeah. I mean, look at all the technology that Adrian Toombs was able to get from them cleaning up the Battle of New York.
right. Well,
So
yeah,
I mean,
yeah, and there's probably ex-Hydra agents running around all over the place too.
exactly.
Hydra / Shield, you know.
But I like that she slipped the costume on not because she knew exactly what Ronin was about, but because at that moment she needed a disguise.
Right, yeah.
Like, oh crap's going down. I need to, you know, like this costume's perfect, you know.
And then she saved the dog.
Oh. And did you notice too, Richard, the way we hear Kate talk about Ronin and the way we hear the news talk about Ronin? Nobody knows that Clint Barton was Ronin.
True.
Because they still refer to Ronin as this mysterious figure. And as far as the general public's concerned, he's still out there, just, you know, not active, but he's still out there.
Well, yeah, that's even like when they got captured. You know, he started to say something about being Ronin, you know, and then the guys goes, no, we was acting Bishop, you know, because she had the uniform, you know, because you remember that's how they traced and stuff. And it's like, oh, they still don't know. And even in the last episode, they still don't know who he was Ronin. So,
right.
You know, that's maybe a good thing for them, you know.
But I like that his whole motivation is I don't give a crap about her. Not that he doesn't give a crap about her. I need to get that suit back.
Suit back, yeah.
And it when he, oh God, it was such a great moment when he ripped her mask off. He's like, "Are you kidding me?" It was like some teenage girl. In his eyes, it's some teenage girl. Like, "Are you kidding me?"
Yeah. Yeah, because he was about ready to punch her. Remember?
Yeah, oh yeah, he was getting ready to rock her clock. Well, rock Ronin's clock. He had no idea that not only was it a woman, it was a teenage girl. You know.
Yeah.
Oh, but man, lucky the pizza dog. Ah, I was so happy. And you want to talk about good casting, man? They picked. You know, we always talk about making sure that when they cast a live action, that they get the right actor or actresses. Man, they nailed that dog. They you know.
Yeah, he does look just like from the comics.
He really does. Oh.
So where are they going to go with this? How are they going to continue, you think? Any ideas, or just going to let it roll?
I don't want to speculate because I know enough about the backstory and like the history with her mom, and I've already, you know, seen some idea online about where it's going, but I don't know. I really do hope it sets it up that much like in the comic books where he sets it up, they set it up for him passing the mantle on to officially passing the mantle on to Kate. Because it makes so much more sense, especially in the MCU, because in the comic books, it's always been a running joke that there are two Hawkeyes, not Hawkeye guy and Hawkeye gal. There's just two Hawkeyes.
Right.
But in the MCU, it makes even more sense because Clint is a family man with kids. It makes more sense that down the road, he would legitimately want to retire.
Right.
And pass the mantle down. Whereas in the comic books, he ain't giving up anytime soon, you know.
Yeah. Well, this gets the introduction with the new Black Widow and stuff like that. You might have like we've all been saying, we think there's going to be another Avengers. You know, we get Marvel coming up. You know, so you know it's all going to be a younger team. They got to do that. So.
And I mean, they're even Ghostbusters took a lesson from that. Like, look, here's how we're going to respect the originals, but dude, we have got to set the franchise up for the future.
Yeah, yeah.
We want to keep this going. don't just bring in a bunch of 30-some-year-olds and that are going to last for another couple years. Let's bring the kids in, and we can keep this going for a long time.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what it seems like they're doing with the MCU is. And the one thing the MCU has always been really good about is the slow play. From Iron Man, I mean, if you look at where we came from the first Iron Man movie all the way to now, that's the better part of damn near 20 years worth of slow building. I see them doing the exact same thing with the younger generation. They're not just bringing all the kids out, boom, boom, boom.
Right.
Here's Kate. Hey, in Ant-Man, we're going to see Casey. Hey, we're going to have Kamala Khan. You know, not all at once, but
and we got the twins from WandaVision. So
yeah, and even Washington from Isaiah Washington from
Captain America.
Yes,
call it as it is. It's not Falcon anymore.
Yeah. Well, I was trying in my head remember the name of the show.
It's Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Falcon and Winter Soldier. I kept wanting to say Captain America and Winter Soldier. We're like, no, it's true, but
that's soon.
Yeah,
because that is coming.
But they're slow playing it, and I think it's brilliant the way they're doing it.
Yeah, just hope they don't go too slow. That was my only concern,
Right.
And because they're going to be concentrating on a lot of the intergalactic stuff, especially after the Eternals, but and the multiverse stuff, which we'll know in a few more weeks.
Yep. But going back to with Linda Cardellini, I love the interaction between Clint and his wife because she's not new to his life. She's been there for the entire duration, and I liked how they not code, but knew what each other was talking about. Is this a hide and go seek type of situation? Oh yeah, she knew exactly what he was talking about.
Right.
You know what I mean? She's not a stranger to that life. She knew what was going on, and especially she would have seen the newsreels. Jesus Christ, how old are we? The Dateline, Flash, Newsline. The clips of the news of the Ronin traipsing around, and that was nice too because it brings up that he would have told her what happened.
Right.
She knew about Ronin, but we didn't get bogged down with the backstory. We didn't have that flashback of him like tearfully explaining everything. No. We know she knows. Moving on.
Right.
And she knows how important it is. Like, oh goddamn, you need to get that suit.
Yeah.
Because somebody think about it like this, Richard. Here's another explanation why it could be so important. He gets a suit, man. If somebody takes a hair of DNA out of that suit and finds out, holy shit, this was Clint Barton's DNA. Hey, Hawkeye was the guy that murdered a shit ton of Yakuza,
Right. And other bad things.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it'd be very important for him to get that suit back. But
it was really bizarre there because he didn't even realize it was even missing.
Yeah, as far as he knows, it was probably buried under a ton of rubble in the crater that used to be Avengers Mansion.
Yeah, so I don't know. That's just kind of bizarre in my mind, But it sets the story up and gives us something for them to do and go along. And then we also get the introduction. And I think the next 6 episodes we have 8 of these? Yeah, it's 8, right?
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting.
But I really like how they're setting up the relationship between Kate and Clint. Because for within the MCU, it's happening very naturally and very organically. We get to see her truly fangirl out over meeting her idol.
There's 6 episodes.
6. We got 4 more left.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder if they're going to go day by day, since he's got so many days until Christmas where he promises to be there. If they won't cut it, you know what I mean? Like this is this day, this is that day.
Yeah, I don't know, because they only got 5 days to get back for Christmas. Yeah, you're pretty well, probably right on the nose there.
Yeah. But just, oh man, another thing as a Hawkeye fan that I really liked was him wearing a hearing aid.
Oh,
Because in the comic books, it's very well established that Hawkeye is deaf. One of my favorite episodes, one of my favorite issues, two of my favorite issues from the Hawkeye run. One was Clint had damaged his hearing aid early in the issue, and the rest of the issue, there were no words.
right.
You saw word bubbles to indicate, that people were talking, but he couldn't hear them. The other one I like was actually with Deadpool, that Deadpool not only knows that Hawkeye is deaf, respects him enough that Deadpool will actually lift his mask up so Hawkeye can read his lips. I love that touch. I like how they explained it in the MCU, because the MCU, we're never told that he's deaf.
Right.
But we first see it in the musical when he purposely turns it down. Then later on, when he explains to Kate, and he has that kind of flashback of all the moments with loud noises that really would explain how he wasn't born deaf, but he lost his hearing.
Right.
That's really good writing when it's subtle and not in your face. It wasn't that moment of exposition where she's like, "Oh, why do you wear a hearing aid?" Blah 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 blah. No, very fluid, very organic. I really did appreciate that, especially since I'm deaf too.
Yeah, I like how they interpret this and make this more the old term, street level superheroes. He's real. I mean, real in the sense that he's a human being.
It's a street level superhero that reminds me of Netflix's Daredevil.
Similar, yes, yeah.
Very street level. He's not dealing with a bunch of Shikari soldiers, coming out of a portal. He's dealing with a bunch of Russians in tracksuits saying bro every other sentence. And that's still, dude, I know we saw it from the preview, but man, to watch it, I had to rewind it like 9 times, man. Just that part where they're throwing the Molotov cocktails into Kate's loft. He breaks the window, the cocktail comes in, he grabs it mid-thought and yeets it back. Like, I had to watch that over and over again, because that was for me, that was like a pure Hawkeye moment. Like, nope, yeet, and just throws it right back. I liked how he set up this entire plan to purposely get captured. Even his wife knew about it. She knows all about Clint's plans.
Yeah.
And then Kate goes and screws it up. That was so awesome when they're talking. It's like they constantly hear, like, and you could almost see it in his face, like when the numbers added up just before she crashed, where he realized what was probably going to happen. He's just like, oh no, go high,
Yeah, because it was so funny because he already got loose and was just sitting there.
Yeah, dude, that was a pure dude. He learned that, so he had to have learned that from Natasha. Because it wasn't like this, I'm free moment. No, he was probably untied for like the good last half hour. He was just like, dude, seriously?
Yeah, I just can't wait till the new Black Widow comes in myself.
Same here, yeah. Yeah, because, I mean, that whole end, the post-credit scene of Black Widow where the Countess basically points Yelena in his direction that, hey,
yeah,
this is who killed your sister,
and she's listed as a cast member, so
Yep.
And we don't have to wait till the credits end for her to pop up. No.
Right. Yeah. But no, first 2 episodes of Hawkeye, I know I'm biased because of how much I enjoy the character, which, by the way, I'm going to give a special shout. At your local comic book store for the release of the first 2 episodes of Hawkeye. It was more for Halloween, but at your local comic book store, they're giving out reprints of the first issue of Hawkeye with Kate Bishop solo series. And not only that, the timing was perfect because this last week was the release of the newest issue of Hawkeye Kate Bishop, which is Moth. And I really do love Kate Bishop as Hawkeye. I love Clint Barton as Hawkeye. I love Kate Bishop as Hawkeye. Those are two really good reads. And of course, you can always pick up and trade, especially if you're a fan of the first two episodes. I definitely recommend finding the Matt Fraction run of Hawkeye. This is the titular run in a lot of fans' eyes of Hawkeye.
And this is a perfect week to get out because this is a small business weekend and a lot of comic book stores have some specials going on. You might be able to pick up these at discounted rates somewhere, and I bet sales are still going on tomorrow, so. Yeah.
So, in my opinion, I really enjoyed the first two episodes of Hawkeye. I really can't wait to watch more of it. I definitely get my seal of approval.
Wednesday.
Yep. And it just seems weird because Marvel keeps bouncing around like, oh, we're going to premiere shows on Wednesday. Oh, this one's going to be on a Friday. This one's going to be back on, it's like, that's why this one snuck up on so many people because it was like, wait, that dropped today? It's Wednesday. Oh, okay.
Well, that's because remember they had the Star Wars hanging on Friday, so they moved Loki over to Wednesday, and it went over really well. So I think that's why everything shifted to the Wednesday. I think that was just a logical thing because they didn't want to have both Star Wars Bad Batch and Loki coming out the same day.
True. You want to get people's attentions drawn out over the entire week.
Yeah, because Disney Plus is so weird that they actually still use the old-fashioned weekly dropping of the series, Because, it's the old, like I call it old-fashioned because that's what I was raised on. Was you watched every week, just like just like the stuff on CW. It rolls out weekly and everything.
Yeah.
So you're agonizing week after week sometimes.
Which in a lot of cases, like the shows like this, it really works. Speaking of shows that have dropped in a nice binge-worthy chunk, we mentioned it a little bit last week. I finally got caught up on it. Cowboy Bebop on Netflix.
The live action.
And
you can catch the animated version on there too. They got the older episodes.
I know. In the spirit of fairness, I have to be completely open and honest. I tried watching Cowboy Bebop the anime. Now, please, people, don't turn it off. Don't turn it off. I'm being honest here. I couldn't get into it. I've never been the hugest anime fan. It's just my wiring. Just something about me. The anime. I never got into it. And when Cowboy Bebop the live action was announced, I sought it out. I got through the first episode and I couldn't do it. I'm going to go back and try again. I promise you, I will. That being said, I watched the first episode of the live action. Absolutely loved it. I binged it. I purposely would do like one or two episodes at a time just because I wanted to draw it out to enjoy it, to kind of savor each episode. But man, I impressed.
Yeah, it was well done. I think the filming and the CG effects and everything really fit really well, and it gave that feel of an anime to the live action. I know sometimes remakes doesn't quite have that, and some stuff loses. I think this is on par with, it really works for what it is. It's really a homage back to the older look of anime.
I will say that I will give it that. The style, especially some of the scenes were, I don't want to say, they weren't too clean. And I mean that in a good way. You know what I mean? Where it wasn't like overly CGI. Like there were scenes where when Faye was in the one spaceship, it had that very green screen, purposeful look to it. You know what I mean? Where it wasn't too sharp, it wasn't too clean. It wasn't. And like some of the one of the scenes where she's going through the hypergate or whatever, and stuff's flying by. It's like you could almost see the things on strings. You know what I mean? Oh. like they purposely shot it that way to give it that kind of surreal anime, fake in a good way type of look to it.
And the storyline works well for the characters. I mean, this is a continuation of stuff. So I don't know. I enjoyed it for what it was. Was it really? I mean, it had that over stylized feel, which I really enjoy watching stuff like this. So
yeah. And as like I said before, self-admittedly, I'm not the biggest anime type fan type person. I really enjoyed this. This was some balls out, awesome balls out sci-fi kung fu. The fighting sequences were top notch. Some of them were over the top in the best possible way. John Cho I thought he was fantastic.
Yeah, he was really spot on to the character. So
yeah. And I know that there were some concerns because, like in the anime, he's much younger than John Cho would be in real life, but he still really fit the role of Spike Spiegel.
Yeah.
Just like the look, and Jet Black was awesome. Faye Valentine looked great. I really liked how they... because again, I might not be the biggest fan of the anime, but I'm very familiar with it, especially the character of Faye Valentine. Because if you've ever been to OhioCon or anything, Faye Valentine is a very popular cosplay character. I like how they made her not costume, because for her it's clothes, but down to earth. No pun intended. It wasn't the over sexualized version we saw in the anime, but it's still, when you looked at her, you saw the vest, you saw it was all still there.
Yeah, it worked. I hope they maybe continue. I don't know. I know it's got a lot of mixed reviews, but I think the streaming ratings was well for it. So who knows? Hopefully we'll see more.
I luckily, especially on Facebook and everything, I have a lot of friends that are real diehard anime fans that absolutely love Cowboy Bebop. And within our circle of friends, Richard, I have heard nothing but good reviews coming from them. That was one of my big motivators for actually watching the live action. Because again, a live action based on an anime that I didn't really care too much about. But when I heard the reviews and how good it was, I watched one episode and I was full in from the get-go.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I didn't binge it. I watched it a couple different days. I watched a couple episodes here, a couple episodes there. So I'm just not the person that sits there and watches like the whole thing at once. I have to. Yeah. I'd like watching a bunch of other stuff.
One part of the show that did make me wonder how it was received is when Faye finds the VHS video of her, when she looks like, what the hell is this? It made me wonder how many viewers of a certain age out there watched it and said the same thing, like, what the hell is that? And one thing I always like about a movie or shows is like I'm a sucker for small details. One thing I did pick up from the anime is their clocks don't run on 12 hours. What was it like? It goes up to like 15, I think it is. But one thing because I remember the close-up of a couple clocks, especially when Spike was setting up the meeting between him and Claire for midnight, but their midnight was like 1500, like 15 o'clock.
Yeah.
But I like that when they showed the VHS the VCR, for those of you who are of a certain age and know what the hell I'm talking about. This is a thing before DVDs, and the DVDs were before streaming. I know I've lost some of you. But when he plugged the VCR in, we're so used to seeing the time blink 12, but this was blinking 15.
Right.
I was like, God damn it. Nobody would have really paid that much attention to it, but that was such a nice little detail. But yeah, I did. I finished it. I really enjoyed it, and I am going to go back and give the anime a second try.
Cool.
Let's just go ahead and knock this out, Richard. The Flash.
Yeah.
Armageddon.
I'm
Oh. Again, spoilers. Here's a big spoiler. It sucked ass. Wow, man, for a show to have fallen as far as the Flash has. Again, the opinions and statements hereby, we need that disclaimer, Richard, at the bottom of the screen. The thoughts and opinions of Michael Boroff do not reflect that of Underground Video Networks.
It does suck, though.
It does suck, though. Dude, this is some lazy, bad writing.
They built this up being so as this year's multiple crossover event. Yeah. It's
we're
not
2 episodes. Dude, we're 2 episodes in and not a goddamn thing has happened yet. I mean, let's be honest. Oh man, dude. Richard, I would say this season is a season that jumped the shark, but it's so bad even King Shark didn't show up.
Oh, it jumped the shark several years ago.
Oh my god.
I think Flash after the first 3 seasons, where it just hit the wall. And then Crisis hit. And then that just made it worse. Instead of helping the CW, I think, or the Arrowverse or whatever, I think the Crisis made it worse. And I know, like, when it was when we were going through that, we were really hoping they could, like, solidify the universe and make some nice stories, crossover and stuff. But I just don't think they knew what to do. I just really don't think none of the writers knows what to do with these characters anymore.
No, and let's just go right into it. One of the greatest examples of the bad writing and mishandling of the Arrowverse within the Flash was the big quote-unquote bad guy. I had this problem last time, Richard. I can spell it for you. I did. Despero. I can never pronounce it right. Despero. He's this big bad alien who's come back in time because in his future, Barry loses his goddamn mind and becomes a villain. Okay, so you're telling me you came from the future. Which future is that? Is that the future where Ebar Thawne came from, where I was celebrated? I have a museum? Is this the future from where I have kids who have worshipped me as a hero and have come back in time? What exactly future are you coming from? No. Saying that you're having a supervillain come back from the future. No, you burn that bridge. You've got the legends. You've got multiple characters that have come back in time from the future, and you're telling me not one of them. How you mentioned, oh yeah, Dad. By the way, you flip your shit and go crazy. Bullshit. Bullshit right out of the gate. 2, you had this ridiculously, quote unquote, and I hated that first episode because, we've never faced a villain like this before. Dude, you barely faced him to begin with. You met him all of 20 minutes. He threw you with his mind into a truck. Granted, powerful, but, we've never faced a villain. A little melodramatic there. It's, unlike anything we've ever seen. Really? King Shark, and you've never seen anything like this before. Okay. 2, he's an alien. So the one smart thing they do is they contact Alex at the reestablished DEO. And guess what? Never heard of him before. The DEO, which by that time in the Supergirl universe, this world has seen aliens. They're living amongst us. We're cool with that.
But technically, if he's from the future, how would they even know who he is?
They never, well, not even him, but they never heard. Oh, okay, you're right, but they never even heard of his race, though.
Right.
So, within the next 200 years, this race just suddenly appears and then gets completely wiped out. DEO has no information on him whatsoever, and not only that, but Alex's whole, John and Kara would help you, but they're off-world. For those of you listening, I'm flipping the screen to bird because that is the most lazy piece of bullshit writing any show can ever do. Oh, they're off-world. Screw you. How many seasons of Supergirl have we had, Richard, and they left the world a couple times? Maybe, the Argo City, and the Phantom Zone. But now all of a sudden, a big evil alien appears and they're off world. Screw you.
But doesn't she have to run in some newspaper now?
Oh, God. And here's the other thing, too, that pissed me off. Hey, Alex, we've got some information. We need to get some information about this alien that's come back from the past, or come back from the future to the past, that is going to murder the Flash if we don't disprove his theory that Flash is going to be bad. Right. Sorry, I don't have any information. Peace out. It's your goddamn job. That is the DEO's one job. If there's an alien on Earth and it's going to kill somebody, that's our business. But hey, deuces, I got a honeymoon to go to. Seriously, I understand that John and Kara are quote unquote off world. Alex isn't anything to scoff at. She's an ass kicker. Hey, they're off world. I'll be there in a minute. I got this. No. You guys are cool. You take care of this Earth-threatening super alien that's threatening to murder Barry. Peace out. We're cool. God, I hated that episode.
Yeah. Oh, what?
One more rant, Richard. I will let you. Again, lazy writing. All of a sudden, there's a nuclear-type radiation leak at Star Labs that nobody seemed to have caught because granted, something's probably going to be manipulating all of this, but hear me out. Nothing was ever caught. Like, holy shit! Somehow the outside EPA, they went full Walter Peck on Star Labs. Walter Peck marched right into the firehouse and said, "Let me see the containment union." Shut it down. Somehow they caught it, but the actual geniuses at Star Labs didn't catch a radiation leak within their own house. Okay. So what's their plan? Gather up everything we can, and we're going to go to Chester's garage. Meanwhile, Barry's all depressing and shit, speeds over to the Star Labs-owned Hall of Justice. Meanwhile, they're set up in Chester's garage.
Where's the watchtower at, too?
No shit! Hey guys, we're kind of screwed here. Is it possible if we hang out in your spaceship clock tower, whatever? No. We're gonna go kick it in Chester's garage. Even with the obligatory basketball rim in front of the garage, because nothing says the suburbs like a basketball rim in front of the garage. That's like the equivalent of showing, like, oh, the air conditioner's running, so they show the vent with the little plastic thing, you know, just to drive home the fact that it's a running air conditioner.
I mean, you could even went to the Iris's newspaper's basement if you had to.
Yes. Oh my God. The newspaper that she suddenly, all of a sudden, owns, you know, because,
yeah,
you know, as podcasters, Richard, you know, we know a lot of people who are truly successful at this. None of them have ever actually gotten their own whole goddamn building and have built a media empire from it. God, lazy writing. It's like, look, we've got one season left. I don't give a shit. Just whatever.
And now, you know, first off, you know, I was always complaining about the baby disappears. Now Joe's disappeared.
What the shit happened to Joe? What the shit happened to Joe?
And they still don't talk about the baby, so
they still don't talk about the baby.
You know, it's just one of them things, you know, it's like, how do you write a baby? I don't know. Let's just don't worry about it. No one will notice.
Yeah.
It's after effects of Crisis and the twins and all that stuff, you know. I still think something's all wibbly wobbly with time, and that's what is going on with this. I think Zoom is still part of this. I think everything's being torn apart or something is what's causing him to do all what he's doing. I
do too. And this is going to be a perfect segue, Richard, because The Flash is how we're seeing it poorly handled, where they're very sloppily dropping a bunch of stuff that they're expecting to have a big payoff later on,
right?
But it's failing miserably. Someplace that is actually doing it well is Doctor Who.
Oh, definitely.
The first few episodes, and I am a diehard Doctor Who fan, I absolutely love Jodie Whittaker. The first couple episodes were kind of sloppy.
It was chaos. It was a chaos. And I think they were trying to put her through chaos to throw her off of her game.
Yeah, there was so much happening that didn't seem to correlate with anything else. It just seemed, from an outside observer, seemed kind of sloppy. We've got the Flux. We've got the Weeping Angels. We've got the Santarans. You know, it's all over the place. But this last episode, the Village of the Weeping Angels, has been by far the best episode of the season. If not, in my opinion, if not the best episode of Jodie's run.
It was pretty impressive, yeah.
It was really impressive. And it's so easy to get the Weeping Angels wrong.
Yeah.
But this episode, the Weeping Angels were 100% dead on. I mean, everything about them was perfect. The only one beef that I had, though, was, as I understand, for those of you who aren't familiar with the Weeping Angels, well, those of you that are, the whole concept of that which holds the image of an angel becomes an angel makes sense on a television screen, a view screen. But the charcoal drawing that she made of a Weeping Angel, that one's far-reaching, because you're telling me that throughout the entire history of mankind, somebody hasn't accidentally doodled an angel that, you know what I mean? That one was, that one was a little off for me, but within the context of the story, you know, it worked.
Yeah.
But no, the idea that the angels have taken over this entire village, you know, that this was like their personal little playground.
Yeah, they like took the whole unit and just like made it in like a bubble universe type thing, you know.
Yeah. And they were, and a lot of times in this episode, they were truly terrifying again, much like they were back in Blink.
Oh, yeah.
That moment where spoilers, people. We're an hour into this. Where the O guy is watching it on the monitor, and the Weeping Angel is talking to him, which is something we've seen before, that they communicate through a proxy. But when that thing jumped through this goddamn screen, I jumped back. That was the first in a long time since Blink that I've had an encounter with the Angel that made me jump back. Like, goddamn, that was good.
It's like Vidrodrum.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
That's what I thought of when I saw it. I go, oh,
yeah.
Berg.
But we're starting to get a little bit more of a sense of history with the Weeping Angels, that it kind of harkened back to what was it, the End of Days with David Tennant, where he's having the conversation with Rosalind, and they show I'm going full Doctor Who nerd, where they showed his mom, the Doctor's mother, in the background.
Yeah.
That was the first sense that we got that the Time Lords had more dealing with the Weeping Angels than what was led to believe before. We're definitely getting a bigger sense of that now, that they might have been agents used by the Division, which they are. That is they're very slow building the reemergence of the Division. From last week's episode where Joe, can't remember her last name, but she's a brilliant doctor, and I really hope they do more with her, mentions the Division, that there's an entire pre-first Doctor that we know of as viewers, that there is a more history, that the Doctor's memory has been erased, and the Weeping Angel knows it all, and she's the Weeping Angel's using that as leverage.
Yeah, I don't know. This season at first, I just loved all the chaos. I don't know. I liked the chaos, and the whole storytelling. I think it actually works, because I think this is building up, because you got to see pieces of time here, pieces of time there. Nothing's like sacred anymore. Everything's basically wibbly wobbly. The whole time structure, the whole universe is all in this ultimate chaos. It's beyond crisis. So it's one of them type of deals.
But we got to go on record, because we're going to wrap it up here soon. One of the best moments of that episode, though, again, huge spoiler, was watching the Doctor slowly turn into a Weeping Angel. God damn, that was good. And it worked, too. I mean, it wasn't just a jump to shark flash moment where it's just like, oh, man, our writing sucks. Let's make the Doctor a Weeping Angel. Ah! No. This is how it's done right.
Yeah, because that was sacrifice, because she was sacrificing herself for the rest of the team, so.
Yep.
Which the Doctor would. I mean,
wholeheartedly, yes.
Yeah. Whichever incarnation, he would always go above and beyond to save, his companions, the human race, whatever.
And not even companions. The woman that he saved, or the woman that she saved, wasn't even one of her companions. This was just an innocent woman that was possessed by a Weeping Angel. This was just an innocent.
Yeah.
And the Doctor would do that.
Yeah, this the whole thing with the Doctor protecting Earth,
Yeah.
I hope one of these days that we get a little bit more storyline with a Doctor and the humans, and maybe try to dive into that a little bit more. Maybe this is what, if we would go into the beginning, maybe it's all right there. Maybe there is a connection between Earth and the Doctor, Yeah,
because they alluded to it. I mean, with all the not the illusions, with all the foreshadowing that the Division is going to be explored more, that could be a way to find out, what the Doctors. I mean, within the confines of the Doctor Who universe, not the writers who can only, it's cheaper to. It's like Amy Farrah Fowler said on Doctor Who, for somebody that can go through all the time and space, he really does like England, doesn't he? But no, what the Doctor's infatuation with Earth really is, and we might find that out more as we learn more about the Division.
Not that it's produced by the BBC and is set.
Yeah.
They were very limited on special effects back in the 60s, you know?
Yeah.
You know.
Here's a plastic bag. We need to make 9 aliens out of this. Make it happen. So yeah, a lot happened this last week, Richard, since we got a chance to go see Ghostbusters, which by the way, I'm so yeah, it's open. I ate them. Don't judge me. They're good.
He bought 2 bags. Don't let him fool you.
Oh, I did, Richard.
Oh!
But I goddamn bag. Don't judge me, man. Yeah, I ate 2 bags of marshmallows.
I still thought somewhere.
It's Thanksgiving. Oh, which, by the way, in closing, at the filming of this is we just celebrated Thanksgiving. We hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. Richard, if you would, please kindly, could you tell everyone listening and or watching all the handles where they can find us at?
The main thing is undergroundvideonetwork.com. That's our main website where you can find the UVN Plus video archive with all the videos from the last almost 19 years now. In a couple weeks, we will be 19 years old. First episode appeared on the 16th of December, so we're really approaching that time frame. So just go there and then follow our links to all our socials. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I've been posting again on Twitter. I forgot about Twitter and some other stuff. So, and of course, you know, MySpace if you want to go back in nostalgia. So,
all right. So, on behalf of myself, Michael Boroff, and my good friend Richard Catterjohn, thank you for watching and or listening. We hope everybody's staying safe and healthy, and we hope to see you at a comic book store or a convention really soon. And if you would kindly, Richard, please press the button.